This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Joining us today for this special feature is Sam Garrett, the CEO of Great Southern Copper. It's a special feature on the Chile projects, mainly the Especularita copper project. Well, thank you very much for your time. Sam, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, Mark, and thank you. Nice to talk to you again.
It's good to be speaking to you. I know we've spoken a few times on the interviews just following developments at Great Southern Copper and, of course, with the developments that are going on at Especularita. But it's about time we did more of a deeper dive, a special feature, as we call it, on the project with the help of some slides to guide us through. So, I mean, the first one here, well, I think that's just your opening slide. Very pleased to be having you on today. But the first thing I'd like to sort of cover, really, just in brief, is just talk a little bit about the gold and the copper markets, really, but more probably particularly focus on the copper. What's driving performance and what the outlook is looking like?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I'm not an analyst, but I don't think you have to be these days with the volume of information that's coming at us, such as what you can see on the screen there. That was a 2023 article. The global copper market is entering an age of extremely large deficits. Well, we're getting news like that every day, aren't we? And I think this is all being driven supposedly by the demand for EV products. And I note that recently there's a move into AI consuming copper, and so it's a real boost and boon for our business, I guess. So if you have a view on copper, and we do, because copper is the low cost option, right? There's nothing out there to replace it. So we're in for an extended period of demand for copper.
And your projects are copper and gold?
Copper and gold, yes. I mean, the future for gold gold is more emotional, isn't it? Tends to be, but the price is high at the moment and is looking stable. So, and many predict that it's going to continue to increase further. So, it's a little harder to predict than copper, I guess, but they're the right two commodities to be in at the moment, I believe.
The only one you could add probably is uranium to that mix, but you've got a couple of good ones there. Copper at all-time high, just coming up a tiny bit, but gold also hitting all-time highs, just coming up a tiny bit. But like you say, holding nicely there above sort of 22. And I agree. A lot of the analysts saying that once it's blasted, I think it was blasting through either that 21 or that 22 level. That's been a ceiling for quite a long time. That will obviously now act as support. So I'm reluctant to buy more gold sovereigns because it's all-time highs. But if it all continues to go up, then it doesn't really matter, does it? But and I agree. The global outlook for the copper and gold markets are looking pretty good, considering as well the green economy shift that we're going down. But if we were to just look then at before we get into the detail on Especularita, just talking about Chile. And Chile is a jurisdiction to operate, and it's perhaps not very well known amongst investors. But it doesn't mean it's any less prospective. So just briefly, could you perhaps take us through why Chile for Great Southern Copper and some of the benefits that come from working in that country?
Indeed. I think Chile is highly prospective for copper. And if you have a view on copper, which we do, you need to consider Chile. It is the largest producer and exporter of copper. So that's why we're there. We've spent a lot of time putting together what we believe is a very prospective portfolio of copper and copper gold projects. In particular, our headline project at Especularita. And we've focused here on what's known as the coastal metallogenic belt. Chile is made up of a number of parallel arcuate volcanogenic belts, if you like. Mm-hmm. Much of the current active mining for copper and gold is in the Andean belt, which is has high elevations and difficult to work in as a junior explorer. You need big budgets. So for us, it makes sense to explore where we've got good access, and exploration costs are cheaper. All the infrastructure is there: roads, power, towns for people support. And there's no compromise on geological prospectivity. In fact, the coastal metallogenic belt in Chile is quite unique in that it allows us the option to explore for both porphyry and iron oxide copper gold deposits, or IOCGs. So you get a double dip in the coastal belt.
Okay, so you say the access is good, the infrastructure is in place, so no concerns about that. What about local attitudes to mining, government policy, that kind of thing?
No, that doesn't concern us. Chile is very much like Australia and Canada, for example. It relies heavily on the mining industry to drive its economy. People understand mining and the importance of it. Many people are obviously employed in the industry, so it's a big benefit to foreign companies. We can operate and own 100% projects in Chile. So no, it's a great place to explore and ultimately develop resources.
Okay, and you mentioned these volcanic belts. So in the picture there, is that what we can see? The different bands of the sort of the green going across there, and then the blue or the turquoise and the red and the yellow going down?
Yeah, that's right. So those vertical belts, you can see the blue one, for example, where our projects are located. That's the coastal metallogenic belt, or the Cretaceous belt. And what you can see there is that in Chile, the copper deposits, or the big copper and gold deposits, are typically located along trends that cross-cut those north-south trending belts. So you can see, for example, at San Lorenzo, it's on a similar trend to El Indio, for example. And at Especularita, our project there is on a trend which links up very nicely with Pumper Metals' recent work at their Peuquenes prospect, where they've recently announced 447 meters of 0.42% copper and 0.46 gold. So it's very common in Chile to find big deposits aligned along these cross-cutting structural trends.
Yeah. Okay. So the blue one is one of the volcanic trends. What is the green?
So the greens are the big structural zones, the sort of north, I guess the southeast trending green structural zones. They're the porphyry trends that the big deposits sort of sit across.
I see.
They're an optimum target zone, if you like. So where those green belts intersect with the coloured north-south metallogenic belts, they're the optimum target zones, and you can see we occupy two of them.
Yeah, indeed. So those are the optimum target zones. You occupy two of them, and just looking, the other names on there, the other projects, are they?
That's right, mines and projects.
and you can see how they're strategically located on these cross points as well. So there's a fair few operators in the area then.
Well, there are. Yeah, I mean that's sort of a key point. Chile is a tier 1 jurisdiction for international copper and gold miners. All the big guys are there.
Okay. Well, let's talk a bit more about the sort of the technicals of the deposit then. A lot of people will be familiar with porphyry deposits. That's a very common term that people hear, investors in mining stocks. But lithocaps is probably less understood. But maybe they go hand in hand, I'm not sure. But you can see you've got a pint of lager there or something to maybe demonstrate. So could you perhaps explain lithocaps and porphyries?
No, indeed. It is. You can get technical if you look at the middle picture there. That's sort of a very technical model of what a porphyry copper deposit looks like. But if you want to get into the pub geology, then the lithocap is pretty much what the head of the beer is, and it's the frothy sort of tasteless part at the top of the porphyry, and so we can use the presence of lithocaps to direct our exploration activities clearly to those areas underneath, which prospective for copper and copper gold.
Okay, so you want to get through the foam bit, the sort of the frothy bit.
You want to get through the foamy bit, and you can see on the right-hand panel we've got photographs of the foamy-looking rocks. We call vuggy silica. So it's full of holes or bubbles, if you like, and it's actually been caused by acid, what we refer to as acid leaching. So those rocks were originally full of pyrite, and low temperature water and fluids have acted to generate acid in interaction with the pyrite, and have leached a lot of the feldspathic and sulfide minerals out of those rocks. So you're left with what's essentially a cap above porphyry. So they're very useful as a first pass indicator into the location of potential porphyries. And at Especularita, for example, our lithocap is about 75 square kilometres in area, so you can fit a lot of porphyries underneath that. So we're also seeing, at Especularita, we're also seeing the phyllic alteration. So you can see the stock-worked quartz pyrite veins there in the second photo. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing all the ingredients that we want to see, and that's what's really exciting for us at Especularita. All we can't see, and we're yet to determine by drilling, obviously, is the copper mineralization at depth. So that's the next step. That's what we're working towards.
Okay, yeah. So you use the lithocap, the foamy thing, as like a first pass, almost like a pathfinder to suggest what is below. You say you could be you've got 75 kilometers of a lithocap, and there could be multiple porphyries underneath it. How do you go about finding the porphyry? Are you doing stuff on the surface, or is it the matter of getting a drill down?
No, we are doing stuff on the surface. We've been doing some detailed soil sampling to very low detection limits to see where we might get some vectors to mineralization for that, and we've been doing some geophysics. So we're hoping to get those results out to the market and our shareholders pretty soon. But yes, so this is a big area, and our exploration efforts haven't covered the entire extent of it yet. But we do have in a number of areas some key features that allow us to see, or we believe to see beneath it, and give us pretty good clues as to what's going on.
Okay, and when it comes to porphyries themselves, then they're not volcanoes, are they? But are they channels that fluids came up from the center of the Earth through?
Yeah, they're essentially so the beer analogy. If you look at that as an intrusive pipe, if you like, coming up through the crust, and that could be through other sort of intrusive rocks or volcanic rocks, or it could be even coming up through sedimentary or metamorphic rocks. But typically, it's through other sort of volcanogenic horizons. So the mineralization, as that intrusive starts to cool down and more fluids start to build up, you get lithostatic pressure building up, and you start forming cracks, I guess, in the porphyry intrusive, and so you start seeing alteration, like you can see in the right-hand panel with the hammer. These sort of what we refer to as sort of stock-worked veins, and that's a very strong indication of porphyry type alteration signatures. So when we see that, we get very excited.
Okay, good. So, I mean, whereabouts, just on the center picture there of the porphyry, where would be the sort of the core of the potential deposit?
Where the question mark is leading us to.
Ah, right. Yes. Okay. So sort of just below center. Yeah. Okay.
That's right. So we've got to drill down. We've got to drill down basically and get into that zone.
Okay.
And I guess it's fair to say that in a lot of areas where you have uplift, for example, the lithocap is eroded away, and you can drill straight into porphyry systems, and that's not uncommon, and it's particularly common in tropical areas, for example.
Where
you get rapid uplift. But in Chile, it's very common to see these types of lithocap systems, and North America, at the top of the at the top of the Porphyry system, and we have one immediately north of us at the Carmen de Andacollo mine in Chile. So 90 kilometers north, Tex Andacollo deposit. That's a 1.7 plus billion ton copper deposit. And they have a very nice sort of similarly looking lithocap sitting over their big mine. So yeah, they're very attractive targets.
Okay, and maybe it's too early to be talking about how to extract it, but once you've drilled and sort of found mineralization, is the potential there for open pit?
Yes, yeah, potentially. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what we would hope. But some of these things are big enough to mine underground too, with block caving and that sort of thing.
Right, and following them.
Yeah, that's the other benefit of our location too. It's worth noting, because we're close to the coast, we're not at 4,000, 5,000 meters elevation. Our cost of capital is going to be a lot lower, so we can essentially, have better mining outcomes.
Okay, excellent. Well, let's talk a bit more then about some of the exploration work that's been going on. I know we've talked about in interviews this IRGS model type here. So I wonder if we can just go through that first of all, explain what that is.
Yeah, IRGS is intrusive related gold systems, basically. So you're seeing vein deposits inside intrusives, and what we were surprised to learn when we started working in the Especularita project area was the occurrence of these intrusive related gold type deposits. It was a big surprise to us. You can see on the right hand panel our lithocap sort of alteration areas outlined in that yellow stippled sort of area. So we've started exploring around there, and it wasn't too long before we started coming across these big, large veins at the Teresita and what's now the Teresita and Victoria prospects. And those veins included high-grade gold and high-grade copper. And there's actually, they're quite extensive. And what we know from intrusive related or IRGS deposits is they can be very big. So it provides us and provides our shareholders with, a double chance. We've got two types of deposits within our area, and in fact, we're just finding out that looks like we've got three. So at Aurelia, we're looking at skarn IOCG type deposits. So so it's a very exciting project for us and for our shareholders.
Okay, so three potential types of deposits there. And you say in this slide here, you've got 5,500 meters drilling planned in the next 18 to 24 months and expecting some news flow. So I wonder if we can perhaps talk about some of the recent drilling and how that might inform the next stage of drilling here. So this is some scout drilling earlier on in this year.
Yeah, that's right. This is the first of our intrusive related copper gold targets. At Teresita, so there on the left-hand panel, you can see the veins sticking up out of the ground, and what's really critical here is that there's been no modern-day exploration of these veins, so none of them have been drilled. So it's really interesting, but they're there, they exist, and they've got copper and gold. So our work in that area mapped those veins as multiple sort of parallel type vein systems over a cumulative 5 kilometer strike length. And earlier in the year, we undertook our first RC scout drilling program of the Teresita, just to see what these veins look like at depth. Would we see the same type of mineralization at depth? Would it get better? That sort of thing, and that would then drive our ongoing sort of exploration models. And you can see in the right-hand panel, we were very excited to get those results. So from a 2 meter wide vein at surface, we're getting a 20 meter wide intersection at depth, which probably equates to a 14 to 15 meter horizontal width. So things have got bigger. We know from this work that the grade and scale is going to be variable, but we've got a lot of room to play with. 5 kilometers, and that's open, is a big trend. So it's very exciting for us going forward. And
so
the
the
other
scout.
sorry, and the other learning we get out of that is that what we now know as our Victoria prospect is a very similar type system. So we haven't just got one of these; we've got two, and that's
Okay.
gravy for us.
Indeed. So the scout drilling is proving or further demonstrating what you thought from original test work.
That's right. It's actually exceeded our expectations.
Exceeding it. Yeah.
And the beauty of scout drilling is that it's a very cheap and efficient tool that we can use to target these systems and get lots of information. Unfortunately, you don't get detailed geological information because you need diamond drilling for that. But you get sort of a rapid geochemical assessment, if you like.
Yeah.
So we're planning to conduct more of these RC scout drilling programs over the next sort of 6 to 12 months. Hopefully, 3 to 4 of them across various prospects in the portfolio.
Okay, to do the same thing really, to identify these veins like you've identified the Gato Negro vein there.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So let's have a look. And it's great that you've got that one vein. It's clearly demonstrated there where the drill has intersected. So finding more of them, obviously it's a good thing, but also exploring more in the ones that you have found. So what are the plans for the drilling going into the rest of this year and into early next year? It seems you've got quite a plan going on.
We've got a very aggressive plan.
Good.
And we aim to execute on it. So in February this year, we announced the acquisition of 2 new prospects into the Especularita portfolio. That's Cerro Negro and Artemisa. And the key reason for that is that, well, particularly with Artemisa, is it's allowed us to fill in some holes that we had in our prospect geology. So at Artemisa, the Victoria prospect, that is now intrusive related gold is now extended several kilometres to the west and to the south. So what was originally a sort of a 600 by 600 metre prospect has grown significantly thanks to that acquisition. So we aim to be drilling that soon, and it's also extended our sort of Lipa Porphyry prospect, which isn't indicated there, except it's indicated there with the number 2 and 4 there. So that's where we hope to be conducting more drilling. At Cerro Negro, we'll be targeting porphyry-style mineralisation as well. Vayuda will be targeting porphyry-style mineralisation, and at Aurelia, we'll be targeting skarn IOCG type mineralisation. So high grade. Yeah, we announced, our last announcement for Aurelia was that we mapped, high grade copper and gold up to 7% copper in zones up to 2 meters sort of strike length. So, that's a pretty compelling target, particularly in the context of over the hill. Well, literally over the hill is the El Espino IOC deposit, which is currently under development by Cobre. So all these things are demonstrating that we've got control of a very large system, which allows us, deposit type optionality.
Okay. Well, I can clearly see there, of course, the lithocap you talk about, and then the potential for multiple porphyries underneath that. That slide definitely demonstrates that. And you've got multiple drill programs. So all those numbers 1 through to 6 is where you're going to be drilling. And as you say, you've got the porphyries, the IRGS type deposit, and then the skarn type deposit as well over on the right there at Aurelia. So yeah, quite an extensive drill program. Just a quick question on the porphyries here. So the little icons, they almost look like SpaceX rockets. Those are illustrating porphyries, are they? But as well, you've got the kind of the bigger porphyry at the Artemisa area.
That's right. So we don't know how big these things are going to be. We don't know if there's going to be one big one or a number of smaller ones. That story will come out in due course. But we do know from the work that Culpeo have done there recently. So Culpeo is an ASX listed company. So they drilled that Llano Carina porphyry intrusive sort of on the left-hand side of that image, and they intersected 257 meters of 1.1% copper equivalent. So that is really exciting for us. That tells us that we are in the right spot. In fact, we're better off. We're closer into the that zone. So, we have a lot of compelling evidence to suggest that our models are correct, and that's why we're enthusiastic and going for an aggressive plan.
Okay, so all of this is planned, all of this is costed, and will just happen over the course of the next sort of 6 to 8, 12 months?
Next 6 to 24 months, yes.
Okay, 6 to 24 months. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you prioritizing different areas depending on cost considerations or indeed the areas of priority?
Yeah, we will have areas of priority. So, for example, we would hope that Cerro Negro will be first off the rank. It's all subject to the permitting process, of course, which we don't have too much control over, but we've currently got 4 of these drill projects. We've started the process of permitting for 4 of them. So we're trying to get ahead of the curve, so to speak.
Sure.
And that'll give us some flexibility in our options. And of course, if one project obviously comes up good, we'll keep drilling. We won't necessarily stop. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So if one's giving you good early signs, you might continue on that one as opposed to go and looking elsewhere.
Yeah. Correct. So we aim to plan for success. I think that's key. But it's also key to have this pipeline of projects that we can move on. That we can move on to. And it makes for a very exciting couple of years and lots of news flow.
Well, yeah, indeed. You seem to have got the next couple of years planned out. When would you want to start the first program?
Within the next 3 months, we would like to be drilling. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, well, thank you for that. It really explains what's going on with the project here, get an idea of the deposit, get an idea of the different types of deposit, and of course your drilling plan. Perhaps just more on the corporate sort of strategy here. I wonder if you can perhaps, there's a couple of slides left that you provided here, but we perhaps just finish off and go through these. And one question I would obviously like to ask is, at what point, is there a sort of a catalyst moment, do you think? At what point do you see an exit or see attention from a major or the opportunity to move a project on or joint venture, that kind of thing? So I guess, there's 2 questions there. At what point might that happen? And is that really the ultimate goal, or do you want to take this all the way?
We will look at all options, wouldn't we? And consider how the market reacts. I think the key with this slide is to demonstrate that, the team in Chile is we're moving in the right direction up the value proposition curve. We started at Especularita as pretty much an early stage grassroots project, and the work we've been doing to date over the last sort of 2 to 3 years has moved us up the curve into the sort of the immediate intermediate stage, where we've got our pipeline of projects, and we're getting ready to drill those. So the aim over the next sort of 1 to 2 years is to get as many of those prospects as we can into that next advanced stage where, I've indicated Cerro Negro might already be, but it's sort of Cerro Negro is sort of fitting in that sort of is where the arrow might be, for example. But the aim is to lift our profile, our value profile, as we conduct more drilling.
Okay. Yeah. So lift profile, just see what's down there, see what the potential is for all of these deposits, and then moving into, of course, the study of the resource definition era, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So there could be some quite significant bits of news coming out. It's you're always at the mercy of nature, but in theory, you bit of luck, you could have some real quite nice catalyst moments, I suppose, coming up potentially.
Oh, absolutely. And look, I'm not one to ever discount the value of serendipity or luck, as you say. It really plays a key part. But you create your own luck. If you're not drilling, you're not going to get lucky. And you can see here, we plan to be drilling at Victoria and Aurelia. We've done all the hard work. We've shown that these are big systems, and they have high-grade gold and copper associated with them. So what more can you do other than get in there and try and drill them and see what happens? if you weren't to do that, well, you wouldn't be doing the right thing by your shareholders, would you? So
No, absolutely not.
It doesn't mean that's going to be a deposit underneath there, but you won't know unless you try. So our aim is to be testing 4 to 6 of these over the next sort of 2 years.
Excellent. Well, that's the whole point of exploration companies to get out there and do that work. And I hope you'll be keeping the shareholders and the market updated on all elements as they happen.
Yeah, we look forward to it.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, Sam Garrett, the CEO of Great Southern Copper, for that special feature. And I'm looking forward to doing some other interviews with you as these drilling programs start and perhaps some results come in, or indeed, we can talk on site when things are happening. I know you're a very keen geologist. I've seen some videos from other projects there, you in the field. So it'd be great to, I always like it when a geologist gets excited about rocks in the field, because you can feel that as well.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be a very exciting time for our shareholders and our team on site. We've got a 100% Chilean team, great young team, and they're all excited. I'm excited, and we hope that message is getting through to our shareholders.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time, Sam.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.